My name is James Williams Jr. Welcome to Kung Fu Havoc number 2. This is my comic book review, part 2. I just did a video, it was like almost 30 minutes, about the X-Men and why I was intrigued with the X-Men. So now I'm going to take you down DC comic lane for a minute because I'm not a big DC comic fan, but I owe them everything. Because my very first comic that I said I would do in this video, that I left off in the last video, was Jonah Hex. I discovered Jonah Hex in, let's see, 74, 75, 76. We're going to go 1976 because I was 3 years old. I first learned how to read at 3 because I started reading comic books. By the time I was little, about to be 4, I hadn't knew how to read. So I don't know what happened to me. Maybe a couple of kung fu kicks too many made me a little stupid. But, Jonah Hex was this cowboy who was disfigured. I can't remember if he was a lawman or not. And later he does become a lawman when they took his ass into the future. And I had long stopped reading before all that happened because I had thought it was canceled. But I also had discovered Marvel, and that was the turning point. Discovering Spider-Man ended everything DC for me until I would read Batman, and I would buy a Batman issue every now and again. If the cover looked cool, I'd buy it. But I honestly was a Batman fan. I just would rather spend my money on Marvel. No offense to Bob Kane if he's in his descendants and everything, but it was just Marvel was the shit. Marvel had more diversity. They had more characters of color, etc., etc. We're getting off of Marvel and we're staying on DC now. So let's go to Jonah Hex. He had a cowboy who shot Indians and was friends with Indians, saved women, shot women. It was a pretty good ass comic book. And the only thing that really made him special was his face was fucked up. And he always seemed to find himself in these perilous traps that he just kind of stumbled into. Just like the Dragon Slayer cartoon and comic book or whatever the hell. He always seemed to just be like that bumbling cowboy that just oh fuck, now I'm stuck. Now I gotta do what I need to do to take care of things. He has also been one of DC Comics' most prominent in everybody's comic book because somebody or another has wound up going through time and meeting him. Batman met him, Green Lantern met him, and in the cartoon, the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, him, Green Arrow, Wonder Woman, they all met him. Alright, so we're going to get off of Jonah Hex because up until I found that I was part Native American, I always wanted to be a cowboy. And then I got a real quick history lesson and culture shock, so we're going to get off of that now. Anyway, so that I don't seem like a racist. As I got older, between reading Marvel and DC, and before the Archies bust out with these guys, I rarely really fucked with DC Comics outside of Batman. And the only reason I fucked with Batman was because who doesn't want to be a millionaire? And he also had a TV show in syndication, which is why with Adam West, which is what really got me into Batman. So I started reading it, I was like, okay, and I really started liking it, Now, if I went to the store and I only had $4, I'm sorry, Spider-Man and X-Men would have won out over Batman. And it was like that for quite a while. And I went back and got a whole bunch of Batman issues, But when it came to DC Comics, I didn't really like Superman. I love Batman. I didn't really like Superman. I loved the Justice League or whatever the hell it was called at the time, Justice Society, I think. And when you read them and they bring in the characters like the original Green Lantern, I can't remember his name, but he had the little cape. His Green Lantern power was not from Oa like everyone else's. He made his shit. I forgot how he made it, but he made his shit, and I can't remember his name. The Golden Age Green Lantern. So then all of a sudden they come up with the Green Lantern with Abin Sur giving Hal Jordan the power. Well, the ring found Hal Jordan and brought him back to Abin Sur. And he, I'm probably not saying his name right. No, not Abin Sur because that's Apocalypse. What the fuck was it? No, maybe it is that guy. I'm confused. Anyway, whoever the hell gave Hal Jordan the fucking ring, or the ring chose Hal Jordan, etc., etc. And before anybody says anything about the Ryan Reynolds movie, it's not Ryan Reynolds' fault. I don't think the director of the movie read the book. Alright? They did a close proximity, but it wasn't the shit. Alright, so we're getting off of that. So when Hal Jordan was the Green Lantern, I enjoyed Hal Jordan. And then I didn't enjoy Hal Jordan because he became a bad guy like Sinestro. And the next damn thing I know, Green Lantern's black. Hell yeah. Started bringing in more people to read it because they changed the diversity. He was a crippled Marine who became the Green Lantern. And he was specifically chosen by Hal Jordan before Hal Jordan became like the God thing. And so, if you go back far enough, you can find these comics. And, if you're a DC fan, then you already know what the fuck I'm talking about because I'm not saying it right. That's a given. And after Hal Jordan and after John Stewart, there was Carl Reiter. And I like Carl Reiter. And I liked his great descendant, Kari Wynn. Because she was like the first female Green Lantern to have, I think it was like a mini-series or whatever. She was only in there, like she came through time once or twice or whatever to try to find Kyle. And it was pretty good, So I liked Green Lantern. Now, I liked Green Arrow, but I wasn't as fond of him as I was of Batman. And I wasn't as fond of Batman as I was of anything Marvel. But Batman has always held it down. And between Batman and Superman, I don't care what anybody says, Batman has always been DC's front runner. Alright? No matter what anybody else says, Batman has always been their front runner and their top dog. But if you ask anybody who's a DC fan, they'll always say it was Superman. Fuck that. And I don't hate Superman. Let's get that out of the way first. I don't hate Superman. I hate the concept of if I spin around a circle and change a part in my hair from right to left, you can't tell that I'm not Clark Kent. That was the only thing I hated about Superman. And then the fact that there were like 13 different color kryptonite rocks that could make this motherfucker a psycho. Yeah, that didn't work for me. At least Batman, he didn't really have a weakness outside of the fact that he was just a normal fucking guy. His suits were bulletproof, his suits were fireproof, and the fact that this is what everybody hated about Batman. Batman was a motherfucking genius. If you could think of it, he done already thought of it before you could think of it, and all of his suits were for every occasion that he ever needed. All of them. If he went out somewhere and it was cold, he wore the frost suit. It could change colors. It was bulletproof. It was fire retardant. It was ice proof. He had a solution to everything. And that's what makes Batman so motherfucking dangerous. Because he's always thinking of ways to not get fucked up. Which is why people can't fuck him up. And Bane was a lucky son of a bitch. That's all that was. However, when he made that new suit and Azrael had it, Bane was no longer a lucky son of a bitch. Bane was in deep, deep shit. Alright? Now, moving on to other DC comic characters that I like. Like I said, this is not going to be a long video. Not excruciating long, anyway. So, we're leaving Batman and Green Lantern and Superman behind, and we're moving on to the Legion with Lightning Lad and all these other guys and Karate Kid, and they're deep in the future, etc., and Beast Boy. And, it wasn't bad. It wasn't really something that I was into. I liked Beast Boy, but I wasn't like a die-hard Beast Boy fan. I could care two shits if Garfield lived or died. I like Lightning Lad, but I wasn't a big Lightning Lad fan, so I could care two shits if he lived or died. Now, if we go backwards through time and talk about Teen Titans, now you're going somewhere. When Teen Titans bust out of the scene, before Robin came in, because Robin was not the original leader, didn't have a leader, it was 4 Teen Titans. Kid Flash, Speedy, Aqualad, and Wonder Girl. Alright? I'm sure you guys did not know that, and if you don't know it, now you do. So if you're watching the Teen Titans, or Teen Titans Go, all that shit's wrong. None of those motherfuckers were Teen Titans at first. Cyborg was not a Teen Titan until later on. But if you go by the cartoon, like the Hanna-Barbera cartoon, the Super Friends, Cyborg was on there before he was on Teen Titans. Now, if you go by the comic book, Cyborg was a Teen Titan. But he wasn't one of the original Teen Titans. And neither was Beast Boy. Beast Boy was never a fucking Teen Titan. He might have became a Teen Titan in the New 52s, or he might have became a Teen Titan in the early 90s or the late 80s or whatever the fuck when I wasn't reading them. But he was not a Teen Titan. The original 4 Teen Titans, and they had a cartoon too. Kid Flash, Wally West. Then they had Speedy. And I still don't know what the fuck Speedy's real name is. I just know him as Speedy. They had Aqualad. I have no idea what the fuck his real name is or if he's even related to Aquaman. But they had him. And then they had Wonder Girl, who was Wonder Woman's little sister. I can't remember what the fuck her name is, but they eventually start calling her Wonder Lass or some shit like that. But you know, it just went on, and yes, she had the motherfucking lasso of truth too. So the Teen Titans were great, but they couldn't really fight like talking about it. You know, Speedy was probably the best fighter on the team. Aqualad reduced to like, you know, if you're not under the water, you're not really great. It sound familiar? Yeah, yeah. And Wonder Girl only had super strength, but not a whole lot of like Thanagarian fighting skills. So you know, she was really the powerhouse that basically had to save the day. But she only like she's like had to be like a one hitter quitter, or she was gonna be in deep shit. Then along comes Robin. No, not Tim Drake, and not Jason Peter Todd. The original Robin. Dick Grayson turned the Titans around. He turned the Titans around. He made sure that everybody was on their fucking A game. After that, more Titans started rolling in. You got Starfire, you got Raven, you had Terra, and then somewhere along the line, Beast Boy came in, but that was like way after I stopped reading them. And then Speedy left, and then Aqualad left, and then Wonderlass, or Super Wonder Girl, whatever the hell, she left, and then everybody else started coming back in, and it was just a really big clusterfuck. And then it was like the old Teen Titans became the new gods or some shit. And then, like I said, I stopped reading the comic books by then. And then the old Teen Titans and the new gods became one team, and then they all did something else, and then they all wound up becoming part of the Justice League, and Nightwing went back on his own again. It was just like a big old thing. And you really have to be a DC fan to know where I'm at, because you're going to be the ones that are going to put the videos up and say, James, you're fucking wrong. And I will accept that, because I'm more of a Marvel than a DC, as I've told you 3 times at the beginning of this video. Anyway, moving on to the Justice League and the Justice Society and the Legion and all these guys. And somehow or another, the Legion had to go back in time and teach Superman how to fly and all this other stuff. Everything they would time travel, and Superman would fight with the Legion, and he'd go back like nothing ever happened, and all this other stuff. And the cartoon was basically just like that, only they introduced the best Superman ever, who was not weakened by kryptonite, because kryptonite was in his bloodstream, and it was Superman X, which is why he had the black pupils. He had the green pupils, and the eyes were like gambits, where they were solid black. And that was the best Superman ever. That will always be my favorite Superman, even if he didn't get a comic book. But that will always be my favorite Superman, because he was made by that robot thingy that had one side male, one side female. I can't remember what the fuck the thing is. You guys who are DC know who the fuck I'm talking about, though. So we don't have to go into elaboration on that. So, by the time the cartoons became Warner Brothers property in that Hanna-Barbera's cartoon, everything got changed over and everything. So that's kind of how everybody gets a little bit confused on shit. So I would advise you, if you read the comics, don't go with the cartoons. Go with the comics, because they're the original shit. But if you read the comics and you like the comics and you like the cartoons, hey, knock yourself the fuck out. So we're going to go from Teen Titans to Lobo. Lobo is basically the answer to Marvel's Wolverine. You know, he's like got the same personality complex, only he fights with a chain with a big old fish hook on it instead of claws. And he's the last of his kind, and he won't think for a New York minute that stabbing you in the back is wrong, because he likes stabbing people in the back. Just that simple. So he's kind of like a Wolverine Ghost Rider thing, only his chain's not on fire on either his head, but he fights with his chain, with a big old fish hook. Alright. So, you know, the main man, he's the shit. He rides a motorcycle. He's like, for you guys who watch The Walking Dead, he's like the Daryl, only more violent, you know, and a backstabbing sumbitch. Now, leaving that, we're going to go to Captain Marvel. Urge! What? Captain Marvel. Not Captain Marvel, but Captain Marvel. This was like one of the big clusterfucks between Marvel and DC, because both of them had a Captain Marvel. Alright? And Captain Marvel, which is a Kree, is Marvel's Captain Marvel. And Captain Marvel, everybody else knows him as the one word he says to transform, which is Shazam. He was the basic answer to Thor. But anyway, he also had like young Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel, etc., the whole Batson family or whatever. Anyway, he was pretty decent ass guy. You know, it's a nice cartoon. You know, and if you go by the cartoons with him fighting Superman and all that stuff, that does happen in the comic. I don't remember who wins because, like I said, I'm not really a DC fan. Like talking about it, especially anything that was Superman, unless Superman X. You know, I wasn't really into that. and then there was the Hawk and Dove thing, and then Superman did a Hawk and Dove thing where he was ripped into two pieces, and I don't even know how the hell they did that, but okay, because he was wearing a red suit and a blue suit, and they were both basically white suits with red or blue, and he was in two places at once, and he was doing all kinds of shit, and all this came before the death of Superman. All right, cool. So we're gonna move on some more, because we're at the 15-minute mark, and like I said, I'm really not that big of a DC fan, so I really can't give you a lot of intel on shit that I'm not really familiar with. So, other Marvel characters that I like, Red Robin, which I mentioned before, not Jason Peter Todd one, but when Dick Grayson goes back to Gotham, he becomes Red Robin as well to take over when Batman dies, because he's the only one who really can. And now that they changed all that stuff with whatever the hell his son with Talia is named, was destined to become the next Batman, etc., etc. So, it really all boils down to who does what. Alright? Anyway, long and short, DC has a long list of good heroes, and, they should be respected, even by people like me who read Marvel. I'm going to do another video on independent comics right now. So thank you guys for watching. This is my comic book review part 2, and I'm going to go to my comic book review part 3.